Join us for an hour of meditation and affirmative prayer. Welcome to Touching the Stillness with Reverend Paulette Pipe.
When we touch the stillness.
Hello and welcome to Touching the Stillness, the podcast for meditation, mindfulness and spiritual practice. I'm your host, Paulette Pipe, and as always, it's my delight to be with each of you. Thank you for showing up, and thank you too to all of our new listeners who have just discovered the broadcast and may be wondering what this is all about. Stick with us and you'll find out. You'll also experience our thought for the day, our meditation and affirmative prayer, and that will all be interspersed by beautiful music. Our topic today is about trust. Are we vibrating with the trust frequency? But before we get into that discussion and experience, we like to just take a moment to center ourselves, to get ready, if you will, by making ourselves available to whatever gift wants to show up, whatever illumination, understanding, new idea. It's not coming from me exactly, it's coming from your higher self, so we need to be in a space of receptivity. So silence any gadgets that might be disruptive, and then gently attune your attention within. Take in a deep, intentional breath, and as you exhale all the air, and then set your intention for who you are willing to be in this time together. Breathe in again, hold that intention gently, and as you exhale, release it into the atmosphere. We also align ourselves with deep gratitude for each other, for this community, for all those who support Touching the Stillness so that we can continue to show up and provide offerings and presentations that transform lives, and for all those working behind the scenes to make this broadcast possible. We choose to trust and know that we will receive according to our capacity and our faith. So it is, and so we let it be. Namaste.
Had a family in which I couldn't trust anyone. Never turned my back, never put my guard down. If I trust them, then I get stepped on, I learned early on. I built myself a wall, tended to it every day so it wouldn't fall. My wall became so strong, I couldn't let anyone in. I couldn't hear anybody say, trust in me, I promise every day I'll be right here. Trust in me, you will begin to see no need for fear. Then I met a man who lifted me up so high, I began to see what was living on the other side. There was music and there was dancing and there was love. My wall began to fall, no support for sadness, no room for fault. The bitter tears are gone, I could let somebody in, I could hear somebody say, trust in me, I promise every day I'll be right here. Trust in trust in me. There will never be a place for fear. There will never be a
So that was the song Trust by Julie Rust from her CD Leap of Faith. Last month I received an unexpected invitation to support Service Space, the group I went to India with in January, to act as an anchor for this 2-week incubation event that's called a pod. And the theme for the pod was the Priceless Pricing Pod. And basically, that's just a group of people who are coming together with a similar intention and idea. These are people who have projects, organizations, or individual businesses that work in the gift economy. That means that we're giving most of what we do away for free. And I jumped at the chance to be an anchor, a support for this group, because it's something that I wrestle with when I'm giving so much of what we do away for free and still have to pay my bills. So I was keen to hear other people's ideas and experiences of how they do it, even while I was, as I say, anchoring the group. I thought I was going to be giving a gift, sharing my time, and it turns out that I was the actual receiver of the most unexpected and priceless gift. I got so much clarity when I realized that there was something blocking my good, something around trust. So when I started this journey back in 2010, I left my job and went out on my own. That was an act of trust. I didn't have a contingency plan, didn't have savings, didn't have a backup, didn't really have an income because I was giving so much of what I was doing away for free. And primarily, at the time, I was hosting Touching the Stillness on the Unity Online Radio Network. And that was not a paid position, so I was tithing, if you will, donating my time to the experience. But I treated it like it was my full-time job, and everything else I did around that was to support me in bringing that podcast to the network. And at the beginning, and actually as a thread throughout, I've had growing pains. I've had opportunities to really trust the universe. There was one time where it was very early in the beginning. I remember going to the store. I needed groceries, but I didn't know how much this little bit of money I had on me would be able to buy. But I thought I would go anyway and just make the best of it. But when I got to the store, I got very emotional as I walked up and down the aisle trying to decide what I could put in my basket and what could be left until next time. And as I was having that experience, my phone rang. And it was my friend Jean, who at the time was out in Atlanta. And she asked, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm in the grocery store trying to shop, but I don't have enough money to buy everything, so I'm trying to work out what I can buy and what I can leave." She said, "Oh, go to the Western Union and I'll send you some money. Because I eat, you eat, we'll both eat." I was just so moved by that gesture. And as grace would have it, I was already in a store, a grocery store that had a Western Union at the customer service counter. So I could go up to the counter, use the information she'd given me, and get money to buy groceries in that very same store. And as I walked up and down the aisle, now with money in my pocket, I was just crying at God's grace. And this is how I was living my life. I didn't know where anything was coming from in the immediate moment. I would have a need, and I didn't know how it would be met, and my good would show up mostly at the 11th hour. So at first I was on tenterhooks a little bit, but I started to learn to trust that what I needed would always show up and would always be enough. I never got more than I needed. I never did and still don't have a surplus of money in my bank account, but what I need is either there or shows up just when I need it. So I tell you that story because one of the things I discovered as I helped to anchor this pod, where we would read reflections, share our comments on the reflections that we'd read and the videos that we'd seen, and just support each other in our ideas. So as we went through that process, I realized something really unnerving, that I didn't really trust at that level anymore. That mostly in the last few years, I've had this heightened doubt just under the surface. It's like I don't want to live in that place where it's the 11th hour manna for the day. I want it present. I want to see it, know it, feel it, touch it, know it's there. I wasn't even aware of it actually until this 2-week foray had concluded, and I realized I had been holding unconscious biases and untrue beliefs about myself and trust, that I was no longer trusting like I used to. You know what this brings to mind is the story in the Bible where Peter witnesses Jesus walking on water and asks if he can join him. And as he steps out of the boat, at first, he's making good stride, and then he looks down. And when he looks down, he doubts. And when he doubts, he starts to sink. That's kind of where I found myself when I realized that I wasn't trusting the way I used to. But once I caught hold of that awareness by all the work we were doing in this 2 weeks, and I'm telling you, it was quite intense 2 weeks. As I came to this idea about where I was with my trust, I decided to take that idea into meditation, to just sit with it and see what was alive for me. So I sat in meditation, gently holding the pain where distrust had started to fray the edges of my self-confidence, of my trust in God as my divine source. I have the evidence, knowing that just like had happened in that store, just like had happened over all those years, my good would show up just when I needed it with all sufficiency. I've never missed a mortgage payment. I've never been late on my utilities. I have incredible experiences, all without having currency of money in my pocket. But I have so many other currencies of kindness, of support, of encouragement that flow my way as well. So what I came to see was that my trust frequency was out of sync. I was shocked at that revelation, that I doubted myself, but more importantly, doubted my source. And then I could see how this was making life so hard for me at times with this overlay of distrust. So I spoke with my cohorts, the fellow volunteers who were anchoring and supporting this pod, as well as some of the participants in the experience. And I also got in touch with my friend Connie Baxter Marlowe, who co-authored a book with her partner Andrew called The Trust Frequency. So we talked about and compared notes around the serendipitous events that had showed up in our lives. And I shared that story from the grocery store as well as other examples I have. I have so many of them. So having these conversations helped me to first become aware and realize it's time to trust again. It's time to trust myself, to again trust source at the level I used to before I diverted my trust elsewhere. Trust in money, trust in situations and circumstances outside of myself. As Connie and I discussed, when we realign our trust in source and place our faith in the trust frequency once more, we'll witness blocks to our good crumble away. As she writes in her book and shares as a personal mantra, the trust frequency is a place where the laws are expanded and there is more beauty, balance, joy, and abundance than we can ever fathom. In fact, she and Andrew identify in the book 7 aspects of consciousness that determine our vibratory and frequency level and thereby our reality. And they put it like this: with expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings, take committed action, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams. Connie and Andrew believe that the choice to move into the trust frequency triggers a shift to a higher state of being, and that once we learn to access this state of peace, love, beauty, and abundance, we find ourselves operating at a completely different vibratory rate where the laws and rules are different. They say wisdom, prosperity, and enlightenment are the order of the day. How do we get there? We shift our consciousness. How do we do that? They say we change our minds. It's that simple. We upgrade our fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality, act according to our inner knowing, and our world changes accordingly. They say it's an infinitely more beautiful universe than we ever suspected. And I tend to agree with them, as I find myself right now in this place of awareness and realizing that my trust had been eroded. I get to remember to keep looking up, like Jesus did before blessing the 5 loaves and fish to feed the multitude. What he's quoted as doing beforehand in that biblical story is really relevant. He looked up. He looked up and away from outer appearances of limitation, lack, and declared the truth, that all sufficiency is available at all times. So here he has these thousands of people to feed with 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and he not only fed the crowd, but there were 12 baskets of leftovers to spare. As I shared with one of my pod cohorts, that's the level of consciousness and trust with which I want to share my gifts once more. Not looking over my shoulder, not worrying about where my good is going to come from, but go back to that place of knowing there is always sufficiency for the day, manna for the day. They say that the earth emits a sound, a sonic hum that can only be heard in certain places around the globe and is almost imperceptible to the human ear unless you're really still. So as I was thinking about trust and thinking about this need to see my good before I believe it, I wondered, what if there is a hum, a frequency of divine order and providence and compassion and prosperity pulsing just below the surface of our lives? And what we need to do is to become still, to hear it, to experience it. What if this time that we're going through, individually and collectively, is a call to become still and listen in our quiet moments to the frequency of all life humming beneath our doubts? Can we trust it? It may not be easy, but it's simple, and it starts in the silence. So that's where we're going with our meditation today in the trust frequency meditation, is creating space and stillness to listen for that imperceptible sonic hum of encouragement and clarity that's right beneath the surface of our doubts and our distrust. But before we move into our meditation, I'd like to just share with you this reflection from the book, One Day My Soul Just Opened Up by Iyanla Vanzant. And each day, it's a 40-day program, and each day focuses on a particular attribute. And what I'm sharing with you is from that reflection that she writes about trust. She says, "Trust the divine to provide for you everything you need to live fully, peacefully and abundantly. This does not mean that people will always do the divine or right thing. But remember, you are not putting your trust in people. You are trusting that the divine will manifest through people. It does not mean that your car will not be stolen or your purse snatched. It does not mean that you can trust that you will not be harmed and that whatever you lose will be replaced. Trust the divine to provide you with the wisdom to make the right decision under every circumstance you encounter. If you want to know what to do, you must ask quietly in your heart. Once you do, you will be guided. You will be protected. It may not always seem like what you're doing in the moment is the right thing. People and conditions may challenge you. You may begin to doubt yourself. It is in these moments that you are called upon to activate your trust in the divine. Rely on what your heart tells you is true. Do not be afraid to see the truth in the situation and act accordingly. Trust in the divine has one very important aspect that is sure to have a positive impact on your life. Learning to recognize and interpret the signs and signals you will surely receive will teach you to trust yourself. And so we're taking this trust frequency idea into meditation, and the music taking us there today is I Will Surrender by Karen Drucker from her Songs of the Spirit Volume 4 CD. And the music underscoring our meditation today is Mystery of High Places by Paradiso and Rasamai on their Shaman's Trance CD.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day, and I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Let's create the conditions for holy listening and reflecting by relaxing, surrendering, and letting go into the moment using our breath. We want to know how to come back into alignment with the trust frequency. We do so physically. Trust your body and its ability to let go. Trust that you are being supported as you surrender and relax every body part, starting with your toes and moving all the way up to the crown of your head. You feel it as your toes spread out and relax. The knees soften. The hips and pelvis let go. The torso relaxes. Our shoulders fall in relaxed repose. We soften our jawbones, our forehead, eyebrows, even our eyelashes, the back of the head, the crown of the head, the breath. All relaxes, surrenders as we let go. Take in a deep breath here and exhale. One more time, another deep breath. And exhale every drop of air from your lungs. And find your own slow, rhythmic pulse of deep, conscious breathing. And now that we have surrendered, let's prepare to listen in the stillness of sweet surrender for the sound waves of the trust frequency humming just beneath our doubts and fears, transposing, transforming them into their spiritual equivalent. Let the gentle, almost imperceptible cadence remind us of our purpose, of our gifts that we have come to share, and the good we are here to receive. As we wait and listen quietly in our heart, in this space of surrendered stillness. The beauty is, we can choose again. We can choose to trust, and do so with expanded awareness. Directing our attention consciously, aligning with our highest inner prompts, so that we have the confidence and the clarity with which to take committed action. And most of all, allow the loving universe to manifest our good beyond our wildest dreams, beyond that which we can even fathom. Resting in this trust frequency, we vibrate at a different level, a higher level of trust, of knowing, of understanding. We will have more than sufficiency. There is enough to spare, enough courage, wisdom, fortitude, balance, currency, gifts, determination, healing, positivity. Just look up, away from appearances of limitation and lack, and trust divine source. resting in this trust frequency. Allow these words of affirmation to gently hum above the doubts, above the fears, as they resonate as the truth of your own heart. All doubt and fear must go, and in their place must come faith and confidence. For we are led by the Spirit into all good. That's from Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind founder. Take a breath. Exhale. I trust the wisdom of my heart and the guidance of my intuition. Inhale, exhale. I am grateful for the immediacy of manna for the day, which shows up as I vibrate on the trust frequency of life. Surrounded by and infilled with this trust frequency, pulsing within us, vibrating through us, we begin our journey in consciousness back to this time and place. Aware again of our body, the clothing around us, our environment, the air touching our skin, the sounds we can discern, the ideas and gifts we are bringing with us from this time of stillness, and the breath. We choose to trust ourselves, to trust Source. And so it is. Namaste. Rest for a moment more in this still space and receive the truth of this affirmative prayer treatment for the month of December. I affirm, in the stillness of this moment, I am remembering who I am. I recall the times I have overcome, pushed through, or manifested a timely miracle. I am renewing my trust in Divine Source, as I remember there is always sufficient for the day. So I choose to trust. I trust that I am enough and I am worthy of this sacred journey to wholeness. I trust the process of life. I trust the healing power of love. I trust in all that is good. I am so grateful for the opportunity to reset and reframe my attitude as necessary. I give and receive from this elevated awareness. And I love that by divine grace, just when I find myself at a point of doubt, I am bestowed an unexpected and immeasurable gift. And so it is. Namaste. And our power statement that goes with this affirmative treatment is one of my favorite affirmations. I am trusting and patient, for I know that all is in divine order. And personally, I'm so grateful to remember this truth once more. Each month we share a prosperity decree that we invite you to affirm, to declare before you share a gift with someone else, as a donation, a tithe, a gift of time, currency of kindness, whatever currency you're sharing. We invite you to affirm this before you share your gift. For the month of December, the prosperity decree is: I trust my divine good is ever present, all sufficient, and equivalent to fulfill every demand. And so it is. Amen. So that's the end of our meditation and prayer segment. And as we begin to close our broadcast for this episode, I'll just remind you of a few things to take note of or to put in your back pocket as something to remember, including that our affirmative prayers are available on our website during the month of December and also accessible on Insight Timer. You'll also find at this time an affirmative prayer for healing, especially if you've contracted the coronavirus and you're healing from it, but it's created in such a way that it's also applicable for any healing condition in which you find yourself. You can locate these prayers on the affirmative prayers page of our website at touchingthestillness.org. Also, just to remind you that we have one more episode for this year on December 15th, and then we'll be taking a little hiatus until January the 19th, 2021. If you subscribe to the podcast, then you'll definitely know when we're back on the air. You won't have to try to remember. So I would encourage you to subscribe. You can do so for free. Just go to the show page on the website, scroll down past the episode directory, and you'll find all the apps there. Just choose the one that you would like to use to subscribe, and then every time new content is available, it will alert you that a new episode has been posted. In addition to the podcast, we also have 2 opportunities to experience live meditations in an experience called the Breathing Space. One is on Zoom and the other is on the Insight Timer app. The Zoom breathing space is every alternate week to the podcast. So for the month of December, we'll be hosting the breathing space on Zoom on Tuesday the 8th and the 15th of December. And then the Insight Timer is a weekly experience. And so we'll be doing that on Wednesday the 2nd, 9th and 16th of December. There's no need to download the Insight Timer app. You can just go to the live events page and you'll find us there. For more information about the breathing space, go to the calendar page on our website at touchingthestillness.org. I just want to remind you that Touching the Stillness is a listener-supported podcast, and so we encourage an energy exchange donation where that's possible. This supports us in making the podcast, the breathing space, and all the other offerings and presentations that we do available to our listeners and participants to enjoy and engage in, most of which is free of charge. If you can't send a gift, at least send a prayer. And thank you in advance for whichever comes our way. So that's it. We've come to the end of the broadcast, and as we go, the Spirit of Love goes before us and makes our practice and our way sustained, fulfilled, fearless, trusting, patient, and romantic. Stay blessed, stay present, and we'll be back together again soon. Goodbye.
If I trust in me, and I promise every day to be right here. If I trust in me, there will never be a place for fear. there is quiet when we touch the stillness.